Welcome to the Go Procast, where we invite business doers who are changing lives by sharing their stories, their strategies and tactics, and who bravely talk about their failures that actually led to their biggest successes. Now it's time to Go Pro with Jeremy Torres. As an international business and leadership coach, my next guest helps service-based entrepreneurs make the income they want while becoming authentic and high-performing leaders in their business. Maggie Perotin lives in Toronto, Canada, with her blended family and 4 kids. She loves spending time in nature, traveling, reading, dancing, and having great food. Please welcome to the Go Procast, Miss Maggie Perotin. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on here. It's a little chilly down here in South Florida. I'm trying to get a little taste of the Canada, I guess.
It's even chillier, I would
bet.
say, and snowier.
Yes, exactly. Everything is relative, in life. So,
Yes, it is.
so we'd like to start off the show here by asking, tell me something good.
Tell you something good. Oh my goodness. Something good. January 31st,
Yes.
last day of the month, right? Yes, the year has started strong, and I would
Good.
say evaluate, pause, take a little bit of time to say, how did the first of the month go? What worked? What didn't? How can I be better?
I love it. Already, all right off the bat, positivity, reflection, gratitude, and looking forward. I mean,
Yeah.
we're done. Anything else to say? How do we find you? All right, let's get a little deeper into that then, because basically that is what this whole show is about. So you kind of just summed everything up very nicely. So congratulations on that. How did you start? What did you do first, like in your earlier years, getting into business or getting into the workforce? Where did all that start?
So the very first, like a real job, not outside of the job, it was back in Poland. I finished university. I got a master's degree in kind of European studies and international relations. And I started as an executive assistant to the chief legal officer of GlaxoSmithKline in Poland.
Wow.
So because the lady, she knew English, but not good enough to communicate with the CEO, who was British at a time. And her assistant was going on mat leave, and she needed somebody who spoke English. And there you go. That was my very first
Got an opening.
gig in business. That's right.
Wow. And how long did you stay in there before you immigrated to Canada?
So I worked in Poland for about 2 years. I had 3 jobs in between because that finished, and then I had a couple. So 2 or 3 years, and then I immigrated to Canada.
And when you went to Canada, did you start the coaching with Maggie Perotin, or did you have
No.
to go through some other iterations?
You know what? When you immigrate to a country and a continent you've never been before, I actually never flew a plane before coming to Canada. You don't think, or at least I wasn't thinking about starting my business. I was trying figure out, okay, where do I buy food? How do I go about just settling? So I got a position in a facility management industry. So when I came to Canada, I spoke English and French, and that's useful in a bilingual country. So through, a family friend, I landed a position of a facilities help desk agent. So person who takes calls from all the buildings, and my toilet is broken, my light doesn't work, my drawer is jammed. Can you send somebody help me, right? And that was my very first position.
We call that we have some real estate, and we call it the 3 T's of real estate: termites, toilets, and tenants.
There you go.
You always got to watch out for the 3 T's and be ready for that. So when did the entrepreneur bug bite you, and how did you transition from having a job to being able to save money, or to be able to afford to take the risk and stepping out on your own? And what did that look like?
So it actually started 4 years ago with a corporate burnout. So I grew my career in the corporate world. I went from a help desk to more leadership positions and so on. And at that time, I was more of a senior manager in business analytics. And it was a situational type of situation,
Mm-hmm.
but whatever, I burned out. And that really got me thinking is, hey, Maggie, you love to grow. You like to be professional in business, but how would it look like for you if you stayed in a corporate world? And I have a family, right? 4 kids.
Yes.
My youngest at the time, 4 years ago, was 3. And I
Ooh.
was like working nonstop, no time, exhausted, and so on. And my answer was, you know what? I don't know if continuing growing and getting what I need out of my professional career
Right.
and continue growing in the corporate world was the answer. And that when the idea started forming, saying, well, okay, great, but what are you going to do? Right.
Right. Right.
So I realized, you know what? I always loved coaching and developing people. That was my always favorite part of every leadership role,
Mm.
managerial role I had. And I love business at the same time. I think
Yeah.
it's fun and, all that. So I'm like, why not marry this and
Yes.
become a coach?
So I would say that sounds to me, though, that you had an entrepreneurial mind, but you were honing those skills as an intrapreneurial,
Yes,
which is,
correct.
you know,
That's right.
I harp on that all the time. Go to kind of the university of business, on somebody else's dime, get a job, go through the ranks, do the work, pay your dues, put in the long hours,
Mm-hmm.
try everything within those different business elements to really find out what you enjoy
Mm-hmm.
and make the mistakes on their dime.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? It's so true. And I have to say that my company was quite entrepreneurial and it really allowed local leaders to kind of try
Good.
things out and so on. And I did try many different positions, right? I
Nice.
wasn't in the same, even though it was the same company.
Mm-hmm.
I managed buildings, I managed projects, I led people, I did business analytics, all those little things that allow me to figure out what do I really love, right? Not only what I'm good at, but what do I really love?
Right. And so how did so when you did transition, did you have like savings because yet until you get your first couple clients? And then also, how'd you figure out how to charge? Because I find a lot of new leaders and new entrepreneurs, they have especially coaching. So, stuff like that, what we do to define our value
Mhm.
is to not really be doing it correctly. It's what value can I offer you to help you grow and then charge, accordingly. So
That's
how
right.
did you figure that out?
So, the first, like, how to figure out how to transition and so on. For me, I started my business on the side, right? I
Oh, smart.
wasn't definitely brazen enough to say, hey, I'm just going to quit my 6-figure
Yes.
job. Who cares about the mortgage and my family? I'm just going to do what I love. No, I wasn't that brave. I started it on the side because I was also at the same time doing an executive MBA, something I always wanted to do, and it's something that burnt out kind of made me realize that it's time for me to set boundaries and do
Mm-hmm.
also things for me. So with that, I overcame a lot of fears and sort of like personal growth that entrepreneurship requires that is nowhere near to what you need in a corporate world in the safety of still having a
Yeah.
job, right? And
Yes.
still having consistent income. And then it was more, okay, I've done enough or I've grown enough, I have enough clients to say, even if I can't replace it, then I have savings and a plan B to help me with the cash flow in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun. And then the value, you're right. Like it's not about our value as a human, it's about what results can we offer to our clients and
Yeah.
how to price that, right? And in coaching, you can be very flexible with it because your cost is very low, right? It's different when you have like building to pay and products and so on, when you need to do the math. Here, it can be very arbitrary. So for me, it was starting to charge what I felt confident in and
Mm-hmm.
what I didn't create a lot of mind drama about, and just being confident and talking to my potential clients saying, yeah, this is what I charge. And then I grew from there, right? As I delivered results, got some good clients, testimonials, then I raised my prices.
Yes. And then also there's so much value that we get from working for ourselves. And so you
Mhm.
have something that you created for yourself called the Mindset Maintenance Program, basically.
Yes.
And tell us about that, because your health, both physical and mental health, really is the foundation. Because money is
Yes.
always secondary. People always chase money, end up paying for it with their health or their mental health or physical health. So putting your mental health and physical health first, tell us about mindset maintenance.
Yes, I agree. We're our biggest assets, whether it's in corporate career or in our business. And if we don't take care of ourselves, nothing works.
Right.
So mindset maintenance. So what I realized is that we all have the negative brain that thinks negative thoughts and so on, and it gets us in the rut sometimes, right? And we get stuck. And sometimes we get stuck for short, sometimes for long. But what I realized that when you actually take intentional little habits to maintain more of a positive mindset, those ruts don't happen as often, and they're shorter, and you can get yourself out of them faster. And that allows you to take really more inspired action, right?
Yes.
So for example, you can have different tools. And I come from facility management, so that's where it comes, right? You do maintenance, whether it's on your car and your building, so it doesn't break. But then when it breaks, you can use similar tools to fix it up, right? So for example, here's my journal that I created, that in this journal, there's prompts every day to write 5 things that you're grateful for, and 3 things you're proud of yourself. Because sometimes gratefulness, it's easier because it's usually, I'm grateful for this and for this person and so on. So sometimes it's easier to write. Whereas trying to find things you're proud of yourself for every day, it's challenging.
Yes.
But when you do that on a regular basis, you do feel better. And it's crazy how much better. You don't know that until you try.
Yeah.
And then, meditation or prayer or taking exercise is great, right? Or taking 3 minutes of deep breaths. So whatever works for you, there's no magic formula, but doing those things on a regular basis, even if it's 3 minutes a day, makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And it starts to grow. And then I think about what happens when your physical self gets pushed to the limits, if you're not getting enough sleep, or if you're in a place where, you're just not feeling so well. If your mental toughness is higher, you can push through those situations easier than if you don't have that foundation, especially of the self pride, the value you have in yourself. You have more confidence from that. So that's very important. Tell us a little bit about your dream plan. You created a dream plan do?
Yes. Dream plan do model. So what I've noticed a lot with entrepreneurs is entrepreneurs are very creative, but they have a lot of ideas, right? And it's great because those ideas that's what starts the business, and that's what keeps growing in innovation and so on. But a lot of them, instead of go from an idea to doing, okay, I was like, I have an idea, let's go and implement it.
Yes.
And what that happens is you create a lot of unnecessary challenges. It takes much longer because we tend to underestimate what it takes to implement that idea. We encounter challenges that we could have prevented, right?
Yeah.
When instead you take an idea and you take a little bit of time to plan, meaning be intentional, right? Believe in the possibility of that idea, but then think about what it will take for me to create it, right? Create that space for your brain to really think and come up with a plan, because then guarantee the brain will say, what about this? And what if that doesn't work? And so on and so forth. And it's not to talk yourself out of the idea, but really think through and prepare. And when you do that, then implement it.
Yes.
And it will be much faster. You'll have less challenges. Doesn't mean they won't happen, but much less challenges, less stress. You save yourself a lot of money and frustration. And some people give up, right? Because they go and they hit the wall after wall after wall and they give up. That can prevent that too.
So what does that look like? Let's say for somebody in your position who was trying to do the side hustle first. When do they know when it's okay to do the do part? All right, how much planning? Because there's paralyzation by analyzation. Some people have that. Some people, like me, have the ready, shoot, aim, right? Because I'm ready to go. So what's the balance? Is it an inert feeling that it's time, I've done enough? I know it's different for everyone, but what do you suggest?
You definitely want to avoid analysis paralysis. I think it comes from truly making a decision and committing to it, right? So if I have an idea and I believe it will work and I'm committing to it, I'm not going to wait forever to go for it. I'm going to plan and so on. Think about the simplest example. So we decide I'm going on vacation. I want it and so on. Now I'm looking for flights, right? I will look a bit of research. Here's the deal. I'm booking it because then the deal will be over and I'm moving forward, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same here, right? You just plan out certain steps, you anticipate maybe certain challenges, but you move forward because you're committed. When you're not truly decided, that's when when you're scared, when that fear is brewing, that's when you start, maybe I'll do a bit of more research because it's in your comfort zone, right?
Yes, I love that. So then how do you suggest to people, depending on what they're doing, of course, what's the best ways to measure success? What are some of the, because that's really so many ways to do it. What are your favorite ways to measure success?
To measure success, well, in business, it's definitely the money you make. Okay, like that's the simplest way, and it's not because we're so money specific, but it's really, it's a math. It's black and white, right? If people want to pay me money, that means I have value to offer, right? But let's say in the beginning, when you don't have money and so on, even creating something that people want and offering it for free. Like the first few clients that I have coaching, I did it for free, but they wanted, right, what I had. They showed up, they got results, and they were grateful. They gave me testimonials, right? And then the next couple clients paid. But once you're in it, it's really following that, but also even doing what you said you would do when you will do it. So not procrastinating, not, researching analysis paralysis, saying, I will do it, but not so. So even making decisions and taking actions on it and seeing that progress, that's also a way to measure success.
Yes, and we call that act at the speed of instruction here at Taurus Pro Advisors. And that means, do exactly that. Do the hard stuff, be uncomfortable every day, try to get 1% better. And, for us, we are a people over everything, people first, people centric, helping people elevate. It's always the giving. So for us, it's other people's success is our biggest leadership barometer. They're our biggest success barometer. Seeing the little steps. So let's take a look. Let me swap with you if you want to move over here and I'll move there. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
I want to show off your website. It's a great website. And I love the name, Stairway to Leadership. Tell us even how you thought of that. It's brilliant. It's a great song, right? Stairway to Heaven. Leadership can be heaven and can be hell a lot of times. But how did you come up with it? And tell us about it.
You know what? I'm super passionate about leadership. And as I said, in my corporate career, I led people. I love to say like the best thing to see people grow, whether it was in my corporate career or in my business. So I was thinking about something around leadership. And then I realized that, first of all, the first leader we are is the leader of ourselves. We lead ourselves first. And if you can't do that, you cannot lead a business or people in it. You have to lead yourself, right? Yeah. And then it's a never-ending journey, right? We always grow. We come to a certain level, we up level, and then naturally we need that growth. This is actually one of our needs as a human being. To be fulfilled in life, you need to keep growing. So that's what I thought. It's like a stairway. You always go up, you always go up, but you up level, right? You don't go down, you just keep up leveling.
You try to do that. You will end up going down though.
A little bit.
It's life, but that's the point, is you just want to be able to fall a little bit. It's reality. But when you fall, what I like to do is just kind of, it's that moment still of clarity and gratitude. And you say, I did fall. I just took a fall. Sometimes it's a hard one, but I'm still higher than I was a year ago.
Exactly. And you bounce out faster because your mindset is already upgraded, right? So even if whatever you do doesn't work, you don't fall. So it's kind of like a little bit, like learning a language. Once you're fluent, you'll never get to the point when you forget the language altogether, right? If you don't use it for a certain time, you might forget certain words, but the moment you start using it, you catch up very quickly.
It comes back. So, and then are you very active on LinkedIn?
I am quite active. I wouldn't say very active, but enough.
it's a great tool, right? I mean, LinkedIn
Yes.
for our business, especially for coaching, letting people know what we do. But if you want to get in touch with Maggie, the website is good, Stairway to Leadership. And then that's what the page looks like, Maggie Perotin, Perotin. For people who are listening, we have a lot of listeners and as well as viewers. But this is actually what your LinkedIn page looks like. It's a great page. It tells you what you do. It's very clear. And so this is good. How do you like to communicate with your clients? I guess you leave it up to them, but do you meet mostly virtual now in this new age of virtual, so you can help people internationally, America and Canada and wherever in the world they are?
Yes. All my sessions are virtual. I actually have a number of clients in the United States and in Canada. How I communicate, whatever works for my clients. Good. So as you said, I am on LinkedIn. I will reply to a message in LinkedIn or through my website, Instagram. So like whatever works.
Yeah, most of my people are LinkedIn maniacs. So I like to really push that. But stairwaytoleadership.com. That's the preferred method. Great website. If you want to reach out to Maggie for any sort of help. What is your favorite type of business? You have a sort of person. What does your ideal client look like? So we can maybe touch somebody in the audience and they can give you a call and do a free little. Do you offer a free consultation? I'm imagining.
Yeah, always free consultation, definitely. My ideal client or one of is service-based entrepreneurs. I come from a service background, so I guess that's my sweet spot.
Good.
And somebody who is starting their business, either wanting to do it part-time and kind of learning, or they're already on but want to build a solid foundation and get to like the first six-figure sort of thing.
Yes.
Do it in a way that's sustainable, that sets them up for success long term, and without that overwhelm or burning themselves out trying to work 24/7.
All right. Well, anything else? Parting knowledge, wisdom for anyone? What's your favorite saying for yourself or for your clients?
My favorite saying, I would say, or for my clients, I would say, I always tell my clients, you need, as a leader of your business, you need to always start with up leveling yourself. Because then when you have a higher thinking, higher level thinking, then you make better decisions and then you can invest in your business from that place, right? So that's my thing that I always say.
Well, we appreciate you and we'll have you back on again. And thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jeremy. And thank you everybody for listening and watching.
Absolutely. I appreciate every single one of you. Every time we end these things, I always end with gratitude. Thank you. Please tell your friends, your family, your coworkers, hell, even people you don't like. Look out for them. Tell them to listen to this show if they want some access to the best leaders, the best coaches in America. This is the place to get it. Go Pro, stay positive, and we'll see you next time on the Go Procast.